So TravelJoy, it's similar. It has very similar features and different things like that compared to uh, Travify, sorry. But it is a little bit different. Okay. So I initially had Travify and now I moved over to TravelJoy. It was just my own personal preference. Just know that there's no right or wrong here. All right. You guys can choose whichever one you like, whichever one is going to give you everything that you're looking for. Okay. So immediately on the left-hand side, you'll see you have a menu. You can create tasks. It'll automatically create tasks for you based on your travel dates, when payments are due for your clients. You have a calendar here. This will give you when clients' trips are going on, when invoices are due, things like that. If you're someone that likes that, I personally don't. Contacts, I'm not going to click that because that's going to give me all client information. So, but that'll show you all your contacts. Templates. So I love TravelJoy because it has templates already built in here for you, but you can go ahead and create your own, okay? So I'm just going to show you the main ones that I really use, the ones that I edited, okay? So what I edited were the terms and conditions. So this is what my terms and conditions looks like. So anytime that I include this in a client service agreement, client agreement email that I send to a client once I've already done my consultation with them. They have agreed to my planning fee. They pay the planning fee. I then send them this, okay? And this is everything on here. I can show you briefly what that email would look like. But otherwise, it attaches, it just says like, do you agree to the terms and conditions? And then it has all the terms and conditions here that they can read and then sign it, okay? And then it automatically will then save to that client's contact card, all right? Under emails, again, these are all templates that were already built into TravelJoy, okay? I created my own welcome home email. It's kind of just like a very general email. I'll be honest, I don't really use this as often just because I end up sending them something else, but this gives you an opportunity to, you can immediately have this sent to your client when they return home. You can wait a few days, whatever you like, right? But you see how it's very general, right? Now, when I pull it up, I can customize it still. So when I go to send it to a client, I can then make it a little more personal and say, oh, New Orleans or your cruise or something like that, right? So that was, I believe those were the two that I wanted to show you. Obviously here on the signature, I have my own signature here that I created on Canva. And then I just pasted it over here, just kind of makes the email a little bit more professional. Okay. Reports. This obviously will then just kind of show you the reports for payments and things like that, but I don't accept payments on the platform. Essentially what I do is I'll just have them send over the credit card authorization form. And from there, I apply the payment myself and the supplier. So for direct payments, this is something that I would skip. This is where TravelJoy charges the client. And then from there, you have then like a online credit card that you can then apply to the supplier. Personally, I don't like that. I don't think that's a good idea. That's just my own personal opinion, because there's additional fees. Plus, also, it can get a little hairy for maybe like fraudulent transactions or, refunds and things like that. Like, I don't want to include and have somebody else dealing with my client's money. All right. So we're going to go back to dashboard. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to create a new client. I'm going to show you how to do that. So we'll hit create and then we're going to hit client and then we're going to create this new client's trip. Okay. So our client tonight is Sally Smith. Okay. You can put middle name if you want to. So in order to create a client, you will need first name, last name, and you will need an email. It will not allow you to move forward if you do not have those three things. All right. So little hint if you want to write that down. So I'm just going to put one of my emails on here. You could put a phone number if you wanted. You could put her address. So you see how it's allowing you to capture all of this contact information for Sally. Okay. On the left-hand side on Sally's contact card, you can now put relationships, right? So if Sally is married, if she has children, you can then put all of these things in here. And again, capturing birth dates, capturing relationship, things like that. Loyalty programs, if Sally is with Hilton or Marriott or something, you can now add her membership numbers there. And it's just going to make your life a lot easier if you are ever booking any one of those hotels or loyalty or doing anything with a loyalty program in the future. You'll be able to just grab it from her contact card, and you don't need to keep asking her for it. Okay. Important dates, birthdays and wedding anniversary, especially if you're an agent that loves to send birthday messages or anniversary messages to your clients. Travel preferences. So this is actually something you can fill all these things out yourself, right? I'm going to show you if you want to. However, let me create her first. Let me create Sally first. Okay. So now I'm going to pull up Sally Smith. So now that I pulled her up, right, you'll see how now I have this option here. I can send a profile update form. So now this will email Sally a request for her to fill out all this stuff. Okay. So either you can capture this at the time of consultation or as you're making those conversations with Sally, or you can just send her a form and say, hey, Sally, you know what? I'm going to send you a form. It's just going to ask you for some very general travel information, your passport, travel preferences, birthday, all those things. It's really going to help me service you. Okay. So let me go back here. Let's say I'm in the beginning stages of planning something with Sally and I want to send Sally a message. I'll just click on client messages, and from there it will pull up an email, a blank email, and it will allow me to send that to her. Okay. But for tonight, we're going to just do a trip. So I already created Sally's contact card. So I'm going to do create trip. Okay. You can change this photo if you want. There's photos already populated on here, or you can search. Okay. We're going to just leave that photo up there, and it's going to ask you for the client's name and the name of the trip. So let's just say, okay, you can add more trip details. So if you have set travel dates, you can do that. That's going to help you because I'll show you that in a second. But if you set the travel dates, it'll help you then when you're creating the itinerary, it'll automatically have those dates set for you. We're going to do Cancun, 2 travelers. You could put a budget if you wanted to, and confirmation number. I always kind of just leave that blank. So create trip. So we see now we're in a trip. Okay. It looks a little similar to client messages, but this is going to be Sally's trip, Valentine's trip. Okay. So from here, you see that there's no messages listed here, right? So any communication that you're doing with Sally regarding this trip in particular will be in the trip card, I guess you should say, right? Because let's say Sally ends up being a repeat client, a repeat someone that keeps just coming back and booking with you, right? So now you'll be able to separate the messages per travel planning, right? So like, for example, all of my communication with Sally for this Valentine's Day trip is going to be in the Valentine's Day trip. But let's say now Sally came back to me and wanted to go on a cruise to Alaska. I'm going to create a whole different trip for Sally. And all of that communication to Alaska is going to be under that Alaskan trip. Okay. So it's nice. It keeps everything organized for you. And that was one thing that I absolutely loved, because originally I was doing everything on email and it was too much to go through all the threads. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create an itinerary for Sally. I have all the information here. Okay. So I keep saying itinerary, but it's actually going to be smart proposal. Okay. All right. So this is what it's going to look like. It's a blank page. All right. And we're going to build it together. So let's say Valentine's Day escape, all inclusive. All right, let's say if I wanted to add an introduction here, I could. So you see that everything I'm editing on the right-hand side will now allow me to edit on, or will show in real time on the left-hand side. Okay, let's just say blah, blah, blah. Okay, we scroll down. Now we can add a section. So let's just say, wait, we're doing February 13th. Okay. So February 13th is when Sally and her husband are leaving. Okay, so our section is going to be the date. Okay, you don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. You can just do a regular section and then from there do flights or however you want to organize it, you could. Okay, but I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So now under Thursday, February 13th, we're going to add an item. And under there, that's what we're going to do flights. Okay, that's going to be their first thing that they're going to do. So let me pull up her flights. All right, so Sally is going to be on American Airlines and flight number, she has a layover. She's leaving from New Jersey. Okay, so it's going to automatically pull in the flight itinerary. This is a live, it tracks the flights live. So you see how I have it on listed. I have it on here, but you can turn that feature off if you wanted to. Okay. So under here, you could just put basic economy, you know, whatever her fare is. All right, so she's going to need to go on another flight, right? Because she needs to get to Cancun. And she's leaving from Charlotte. Okay. All right, so we can just do basic economy fare. So typically here, this is where I will put, you know, so she'll be allowed a personal item, carry-on, and then checked bags available for purchase. Okay. I like to just make, if there's any other amenities or anything else that's added on, then I'll make sure that I will include that in here. Okay. All right. So she's also going to be getting transfers. She's going to be getting private transfers. So then you can select on the 13th, the little plus, and you'll hit transfer. And from here, I don't know actually what the name, who is doing the transfer, but we're just going to do, we're going to do this. Private transfers. And then we're doing lodging. Okay, so all of these things going on the 13th. So they're going to be checking into LeBlanc in Cancun. If this will come up. Here it is. Okay. They're checking in on the 13th. And then they're going to be checking out on the 17th. Okay. And they are getting a Royale honeymoon suite oceanfront. You could put the confirmation number here if you have that, but obviously at this point, we're kind of just presenting Sally with a proposal, right? So a lot of times, TravelJoy will pull in photos from the actual resort and they will pull in a description from the resort, but not always. So typically what I do is I will pull up the resort's website on one tab and I'll pull up TripAdvisor on the other. And typically what I like to showcase is I like to showcase a few photos of the resort itself. So the exterior, the pool, the lobby, things like that. And then I like to, you know what, maybe on TripAdvisor would be better. And then I like to show like a picture or two from the rooms. Okay, so this is the exterior. All right, let's just say we're going to add, let's just add these two pictures, okay, just to kind of show you how it works. So if we want to add, oh no, it did pull photos. Okay, sorry. Okay, so never mind, scratch that. Usually the pictures will come up here on the little description. So, okay, perfect. So they added photos, but what you would want to do is you'd want to take out photos that probably wouldn't pertain to the client, right? So you see all these different room photos here. You could probably take out a few of them, but I'll just leave them here just so you guys can see what the final product is going to look like, okay? And then in terms of the item description or the description of the resort. So again, in addition to the photos, TravelJoy will sometimes also pull in a very basic description of the resort. Okay. It's not going to really give you anything crazy. And I don't think this is going to let me copy. It doesn't. So this would be their room here, right? The Royale Honeymoon Suite, oceanfront. It doesn't let me copy this website. So let me see. Okay. So if for whatever reason I'm having issues on the resort website, you can copy the description on TripAdvisor. Okay. So I always then include room description. So they'll have king size bed, oceanfront. If maybe they have any additional amenities, maybe there are some room categories that will give them like exclusive lounge access or something like that. I'll make sure to include that in the room description. Okay. So these are all different things that you could include on here, but this seems to be I've heard great, amazing things about this resort, and it's just very straightforward. Okay. So, I think that's it in terms of the room description. I'm not going to add anything crazy. Okay. Now, what I would add on here, because they're also getting, with this room category, they're getting a bonus $750 resort credit. And okay, you could also get the they also get butler service. Depending on the vendor that you're using. So for this particular package, I was doing it on Vacation Express. So on Vacation Express, I was able to get a full description of the entire reservation. So actually, if I share with you, now you can see my whole desktop, I'm assuming, right? Can you guys see my desktop? You can? Okay. So this was the package. Okay. So you see, I have this whole description now of the actual room. So they'll have a double jacuzzi, a private bath with a double shower. They'll have premium brands, liquor dispenser with premium brands. So maybe this is something else that I would include on here. Okay. Let me just. Okay. Private bath. Okay. Okay. So it has all the different things, right? And so they are going to be receiving a 750 resort credit because they have that promotion for 4-night stays. Okay. So I'll just make sure to include that. And you see everything that was added on. They have private transfers. They also have vacation protection, all taxes and fees. And this is their grand total here. Okay. 73. Is that the right one? Yeah. 73.25. Vacation Express is really nice because it does also give you an option to have a reduced deposit plan. So I did add that on. So it'll be $379 per person. So whatever 379 times 2 is. Okay. So if we go back to the main section here, if we scroll down a little bit, this is where we can put the deposit, $750, and the total is $7,325. Okay, we can change the cover photo if we want to. The cover photo meaning this photo back here. And okay, that's it there. I don't ever change anything on here. This is just a confirmation page. Meaning once your client approves this proposal, what's going to come up after they approve it? And if there's a confirmation email, I currently have it set as none. Okay. So then we can add another section here, and this section will be their checkout date. Unless if, oh, went too far. Unless if you're planning a trip or itinerary that has activities and excursions built in and set apart, like set into the vacation on other days, then you can certainly add those in. But just for tonight, I'm just going to do the flight back home. So they'll be with American Airlines again. And actually, okay. They're going to be also on basic economy. And then their flight, they have a layover again. Oops, sorry. Okay, and I forgot they have transfers also from the hotel. Oh, sorry, that's not what I want. There we go. That's not what I want. They have, oh gosh, there we go. Okay. They have private transfers from the resort back to the airport. Okay. So that's how I would build this basic flight itinerary. All right. You can also import any quotes or confirmations from outside sources. So if for whatever reason you had booked their flights separately and you're booking their hotel or something like that, and you have a confirmation, you can import the files here and it'll pull all the information in for you and just upload it. Okay, so that's really cool. You can then also, this is a new feature that they added on. You can do different activities. They will pretty much recommend you activities and things like that based on the destination that your client is going to. Okay. I haven't explored with this much, but I would assume it's very similar to Viator. You can add that in if you wanted to. Okay. So now let's preview this. All right. So if I preview this, my description would be up here. Usually I like to type in a little intro to the package, just letting them know at a glance what they're going to be looking at. Okay. And then here they have their itinerary. All right. So on the left-hand side, they can kind of skip through. And then as you scroll through, they'll be able to see everything. Okay. Now let's say Sally approves this proposal. It immediately turns into an itinerary, which then it's going to give her updates on flight changes. It'll give her updates if the terminal changed, things like that. So it's very convenient. TravelJoy also does have an app for your clients that once their proposal is turned into an itinerary, they'll be able to access their itinerary on the app, allowing them to see real-time changes on their flights, all of their transfer information, their resort information, things like that. So if we view all of these photos here, TravelJoy will pull in like really clean images, but if for whatever reason there's one that's maybe blurry or whatever, you can always just delete it. But these are really good images. It gives them a good idea of the resort. Okay. So let's say Sally approves this. Okay. Well, actually, hold on. I'm sorry. Let's say you needed to step away and you're going to come back. You can go to files, and here is Sally's proposal. It's going to be a draft because you have not yet sent it to Sally. All right. So if we're going to share this, you can send it, save as a PDF, or copy the link. I typically send it. It's going to automatically pull in the email template for a proposal. So this was already set for me. Remember, I showed you the templates. This is already set. Okay. And in my email signature, I'm going to send it. It's going to just come right to me, obviously. And then here's that message. Okay. I can see that I sent it. I can also see when she opens it. So down here, whenever, if I were to open this, it would come up here that it was opened. Okay. So now let's say that Sally approves this. And now we're going to create an invoice so that Sally can authorize the deposit. Okay. So we'll go to create again, and we're going to go to invoice supplier, not direct. Direct is when you are accepting payments on the platform. So just like this says here, direct payments. So if you decide to do that, that's on you. I personally would not recommend it. It's just easier just to do the supplier. Okay. This is going to allow you to create the invoice, get that credit card authorization form signed, and then apply the payment, apply the credit card to the payment on the actual vendor platform. Okay. So we can just do, so 4-night. Kind of just put little highlights, right? This is all bundled together, right? So that's why I'm only putting it in one line. If I was separating things and maybe we were doing multiple transactions, then I would have separate line items for everything. Okay. And then round trip flights. And then they also have vacation protection. Okay. So total price we're going to put here is the 72, or no, 73.25. Okay. If you have multiple line items, so let's say if I was going to add another line item here and it was $500, I could show this as a package, meaning that this line item is going to be hidden from the client. Okay. But obviously that's not the case, so we're just going to delete that. Okay. So this is her invoice. All right. Now we have two options. We can do payment in full, or we can do deposit and final payment. Sally told me she wants to do a deposit and then she wants to do payments. So then what we would do is we'd then just hit deposit, and the deposit is, what was it? 758. Yeah, 758. So 758. Deposit is due at the time of booking, right? And final payment for Sally is due January 14th. So then final payment due January 14th. Down here under settings, I never touch any of this stuff because everything is set to how I want it. US dollar for the client Sally, they'll receive an invoice confirmation. There's no confirmation email, and then the terms and conditions. Terms and conditions is going to include for the credit card authorization. All right, so we can preview this. And this is what Sally will view when she opens this invoice. It has invoice number. It has all of her information. It's in an unpaid status. Okay. Her items here, like I said, if there were multiple line items, we would include those things. But since we're bundling everything together, we're leaving it all together. And then amount due, 758. So now Sally has an option to authorize the 758. Okay. It won't allow me to click on this because it's not a live invoice. It's just a preview. So once she clicks on 758, it'll then ask her to add a card to authorize. Okay. Once she adds this credit card, it is not charging her credit card. So that's something to make sure you let your client know. You are not being charged. This is just an electronic authorization allowing me to charge your card for the amount that you put in here. Okay. Whether if it's the deposit, full amount, or anything greater than the deposit. Okay. And then her electronic signature here. Here's her payment schedule. So she says she wants to do deposit, and then she wants to take care of her final payment at a later time. Okay. Now, let's say you have a client, let's say Sally all of a sudden wants to do monthly payments. So if we did 73. All right, so her remaining balance would be 65.67. Okay, so if we want to do monthly payments, we can edit this. And now this will allow us to either add multiple payments, either at a monthly or fixed. So if we say monthly due date could be on the first of every month, equal payments, right? So if we hit create schedule, now, why did it do that? I think I did that wrong. Hold on. Add multiple payments monthly. ending on, oh, that's why. Ending on, duh, okay. Okay, so now it's gonna come up with 2 line items for the monthly payments, and then from there, I'm able to edit, okay? So essentially, she would have 2 monthly payments of 32.83 and 50 cents. So you see how obviously I'm way over the balance? So we're gonna delete the final payment, and now I'm even, I'm square, okay? So here's her initial deposit, monthly payment 1, and final payment, all right? And then from there, if I were to preview again, now Sally is able to see her payment schedule. And she's able to then, what I like about it is now you're able to, your client can then have a copy of their invoice. You can then also send a copy of their receipt once something has been paid. So let's say this has been paid. Let's say she paid the $758. We're going to change that to paid. And now we are able to send Sally a receipt. Here's that receipt. Okay. So let's just mark it as paid. And now balance goes down. And this is then going to, we can then send Sally an updated invoice with her remaining balance. And then from there, she can authorize payments. Okay. That's pretty much the gist of TravelJoy. There's so many more other features on here that I would love to share with you, but I think that would take a lot longer in time. So, I will just kind of wrap it up here. I was not looking at the chat box at all, so I do apologize. If there's any questions that you guys have about the platform, please just reach out to me personally. There is a cost to TravelJoy. I believe it's $30, $35. I can't remember the exact cost of it. But there is a cost. But yes, please reach out to me personally with any questions that you have, and I will gladly answer them for you. I do want to thank you all for sticking it out tonight. There was so much information that was gone over, and I hope that you were able to gain some knowledge and you were able to take that and apply that information. So we have the pleasure of now transitioning over to our founders call that is happening in literally a minute. So I'm going to just go ahead and just close it out and go ahead and log on to the founders call. This is just a great time to kind of just listen to all of the great accomplishments that everyone is doing in both booking and in team building, and to just hear from founders. So thank you guys. We will see you tomorrow.